Hey everybody, I'm Katie, and here with us today is Tony Jones of Tony Jones Catering.
Hello, everybody.
I'm so happy you could be here with us, Tony. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. I'm really excited about the work you're doing, and I thought this was a great opportunity for me to also put my 2 cents in about the world of food and clean eating.
Yay! So, so the title of this series is called Why Cook, and I wanted to ask you, why cook? What do you like about it, and why should other people cook?
What I like about cooking is that I get to control my own food. I get to control my own ingredients, the salt intake, all of those things that I think really are important, especially nowadays when you don't have too many great options out there in the world to go get things quick, but that are good for you. So I decided, and there was really two things. I fell in love, and that inspired me to cook more because I wanted my partner to stay around and be a lot healthier and happier. And
Yeah.
he's so fine. And also, I I knew that I wanted to get into catering eventually, and so I had this 5 year plan of really taking some time to train myself, to go to professional classes, to work with professional chefs and caterers, because I knew um, that I had some talent in the kitchen and that I wanted to kind of hone. And so I thought, what a great way to kind of teach and immerse myself in food, so
Yeah.
that I could eventually open a catering business, which I have. So I'm really excited about that.
That's so awesome. And I love what you said about getting into cooking because you wanted your partner to stay well. I know a lot of people cook because they're the caretaker of the family. And it's such an important role to be able to cook healthy because you're really taking care of everyone's health in that way.
That's true. That's true. And taking care of yourself. You can't
Yeah.
forget that you're a part of that equation also.
Yeah, definitely. So I know that you are crazy busy. And what do you do? Like, how do you fit cooking into your busy schedule? Because I know that is a stopping point for a lot of people. So, how do you do it?
On Sunday, when I have the time, I I prepare meals for the week, or as far as pre-planning them, so I know what groceries I'll need. If I can start soups or bases or things like that, I always try to get that done on Sunday. So Sunday is really my day in the kitchen all
Hmm.
day long, listening to music, and enjoying what I'm doing. So I try to pre-plan as much as possible. I do tend to make food each night, as far as like sides and salads and things like
Hmm.
that I can. But as far as like the main meal, if I'm making a chicken dish or something like that, I definitely pre-season. I like to pre-season my food, my meats and things like that,
Hmm.
ahead of time, so that on the days that I have to cook them, I don't have to. I can take that step out, which can take some time because I
Yeah.
like flavorful food. So I try to think about the week and the food I already have on hand, what I'll need, to make it a lot more easy for me. And also, because I am a little busy, I'm not as busy as Obama or anything, but one of the things and one of my keys in the kitchen is my partner. I love having him in the kitchen with me on those nights when I come home and I am extremely tired or not necessarily feeling like cooking, and that helping hand gives me such a boost, and I really appreciate that. And also having David be in the kitchen with me is time that I get to spend with him. So that's quality time that
Hmm.
we get to share with one another. We get to talk about our day and all those things. But he's also an asset in that I've been teaching him certain tricks of the trade and tools to use in the kitchen. And so I can call him when I'm on my way home and say, "Can you make that avocado and grapefruit salad that we're having tonight?"
Yeah.
and so,
Yeah.
and he can now. Thank goodness he learned how to cut an avocado.
So, how did you get into cooking? I know we've known each other since 1993.
Yes.
And I
Like,
remember,
that's 20 years.
yeah. But I remember when we were living together in Florida, you would always make our food just a little bit more special. Like I remember, and these were college days, friends, so it was like, mac and cheese. But we never just had mac and cheese. You always made it a little fancy. And so, how did you get into cooking and, kind of what inspired you to open a catering business?
If I'm being honest with you, it's my love for food TV.
Yay.
Really, what got me started was watching so many cooking shows that I couldn't sit on the couch anymore just watching them.
Yeah,
And
that's
that's
awesome.
the God honest truth. I watched Julia Child. I watch Ina Garten. I would actually go to the library and get seasons out
Yeah.
and sit in front of the television watching them. And eventually I was like, you know what? I can do this. And I did, I've had some experiences in the kitchen all through my life. My mother has a story of when I was like 5 years old. She was still asleep one morning and I was really hungry. So I made a boiled egg all by myself, standing on a chair on
Oh.
the stove. And while I did get in trouble for cooking, she did say that was the best egg she's ever had in her life. So, so, I've always had this desire to learn about food, um, and so studying it and paying attention to all those shows it kind of gave me the push to get into the kitchen, and I started
Mhm.
getting a lot more creative with things, using all kinds of spices and herbs, um, that I knew took food to the next level. So it really
Yeah.
is Julia Child, Ina Garten, even Rachel Ray. I watched
Yeah.
their shows over and over and over again to the point where people would come to my house or I would go to theirs and they'd be like, well, we know you're watching the TV with the cooking channel and the food, so that's how I got into it.
And what would you say to people who just don't, or who say that they don't like cooking, or think that they don't have the time to cook? Like, what would you say to get them into the kitchen?
Well, I first want to know why they don't like to cook. Is there some traumatic experience they had? did did they cut off one of their fingers when they were trying to cut an onion or something, or or why they think they don't have the time? Because I find that even with a busy schedule, I can always I can always find the time to make something as simple as a soup or
Yeah.
as quick as a salad,
Yeah.
and it's satisfying and it fulfills you. And to a huge extent, it's not necessarily really cooking. Preparing things like salad is not necessarily cooking, but it is
Right.
preparing, and it's something that takes such little time. And with a plethora of vegetables and fruits out there, you can have a different salad every single night that would be filling and satisfying. So I think that um, sometimes people think that they are afraid to get into the kitchen and cook, but when they just try, they'll
Hmm.
love it. And I always say a glass of wine never hurt nobody.
That's right. And I think it also comes down to prioritizing. Like, if you're really
Right.
committed and really want to eat well, it makes it just a tiny bit easier to get off your ass and go and make a salad or a soup or something
True.
that's easy.
It's very true. It's very true.
Yeah.
And I think that there are so many other options out there. Food in your pantry. I mean, beans. There are so many good things that you can do that don't take a lot of time,
Yeah.
but adding that special touch of love, using some fresh herbs that you might have, or things like that, cutting up some onions and carrots and putting them in your beans and having them with some quinoa or something. That's like so. It doesn't take a lot of time.
Mm-mm.
It's delicious and it's healthy. Hello, it's a
Yeah.
win-win-win, y'all.
Yeah, definitely. So, Tony, what's the one kitchen tool that you could not live without?
So I wish that I brought it out here to do this interview. I just went. I'm in Massachusetts and Western Mass, and about 30 minutes away from here is Shelburne Falls, which is a really cool little town in New England that it's very artsy and has lots of unique shops. And I went there last weekend when we were leaf peeping because the leaves change in New England, and people drive around to just stare at the leaves change, and it's so much fun. I thought it was really weird at first, but I'm really into it now. And we went to Shelburne Falls, and we went to this place called Lamson and Company, and it's a cutlery place that it started off as a cutlery place making knives only, but now it's like a specialty food and kitchen tool place. And I found the cutest little rock chopper, like or moving chopper that I
Oh
can use.
yeah, that goes back and forth.
Yeah, that goes back and
Yeah.
forth. I don't know how I've lived for 34 years without it,
Oh.
but I love that. I love that because it's active. I feel like I'm getting a workout and I'm getting so much more done while using it. I think that it's awesome. I'm not sure what it's called, but that back and forth thing. I've fallen in love with the kitchen, and that's where I spend most of my time. So I've decided that everything I use in the kitchen should be something that I can use for a long time that'll last and be sustainable, but also it's fun and pretty to look at. If I got to look at it all day, I want it to be pretty.
That's right. So, in your catering business, you have to cook obviously for large groups of people, and
Yes.
the holidays are coming up, and a lot of us are going to be cooking for large groups. And that's one thing that I have a hard time with is kind of timing things and getting everything out at the same time and hot and all that. So, do you have any tips for people in terms of cooking for a large group? Maybe like your favorite tip or thing that you learned in cooking for large groups of people?
Yes. Um, what I've learned, and this does require a little bit more work on your part, but what I appreciate and what I've learned that really works for me is writing everything down from the time it's supposed to be served backwards.
Okay.
So, um, so I know that, say, if I have a party starting at 6, that I need to be there for 5. I have to have the food in the car by 4:45 if it's close. I work backwards in that way so that I have a clear sense and understanding of where my time is going to be spent. Because I find that planning, especially when you're working for catering or for working for large groups of people, is that you get to be really tense toward the end. Do you know what I mean? Everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, I have to get out the turkey and I got to get this on the table, and my gosh, people are still knocking on my door. Why, Lord, why?" And
Yeah.
so at the end is where I don't ever think that at the end you're not going to be a little bit more stressed, because at the end you tend to be a little bit more because that's when things are coming together. But it's
Hmm.
that time before that door, the first person arrives at your door, that you want to make sure that you have everything that you need planned and basically ready to go. I mean, people. I always say if you're having people over, you should have like a 45-minute hangout, have hors d'oeuvres or a tray out for them to have and drinks and things like that. And knowing that you're going to be mingling and talking, but also doing those last minute preparations. So
Yeah.
I don't think that anytime when people come to your house that you have to have it all ready right then and there. I
Yeah.
think that you can have most of it ready, but there should also be time for socializing and getting reacquainted or sharing some special time with your friends and family before the big hoorah. So write it down. Write it down. That so I
Mhm.
always try to plan as much as possible because planning is the key in my book.
Yeah, yeah. And I find that if the more that I plan, just even for my daily meals, like making a meal plan or, just going by a meal plan, then it takes so much of the stress out of it
Oh yeah, it
just
does.
for daily living.
And for I mean, right? Like nobody likes feeling like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I'm on and not being prepared, right? So prepare yourself, and things will go so much easier.
So I had a reader question,
Yeah.
and she asked me about quick, yummy, clean recipes for on the go and after work. And I think this is something where, again, a lot of people stumble when they're kind of in between, really busy, just stopping home for a minute or in the car. Maybe they're picking up their kids. Just some really quick snacks that are healthy. Do you have any ideas or any go
Yeah,
tos
quick
that you
snacks.
like?
I always say go to nuts. I
Yeah, yeah.
mean, nuts, hello. They're delicious and they're good
Mhm.
for you. Um, Also, again, I can't say enough about salad. I My favorite salad right now is a cucumber, or is I'm sorry, is a avocado and grapefruit salad with a
Mhm.
homemade dressing, which is quick. All you do is slice the avocado. You place it around. You take some lemon juice, and some honey, and combine those two things together to
Uh-huh.
make the honey a little bit more pourable. Um, and then you take I keep saying cucumber. You take the avocado and you put it into that mixture so that
Mhm.
the avocado doesn't brown. Then you put it around a platter on the outside. It's so pretty. And then you take a grapefruit, supreme it, which is a fancy word for cut off both sides. Then use your knife and cut around it, and then take out the pieces between the membrane. And then
Mhm.
you place that in the middle of the plate, pour on the rest of that lemon and honey dressing, and let me tell you, quick, easy, and delicious. It's a fan favorite now of mine that I do for parties and for things that I'm doing at home. It's my go-to because it's quick, it's simple, and it's delicious. And I think that
Yeah.
those are three things that people want: quick, simple, and delicious.
Yeah.
Also, soups. They
Yes.
store so well. They store so well.
And they're so fast to
And
make.
they're so fast. They're so fast to make. It's amazing. They're so fast to make. I have a lovely sweet potato chipotle soup that I make that is
You do.
so delicious, and I know that you're going to be featuring that, so I'm really excited
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
And it's quick and it's easy. And then you take some pecans, put them on top. Oh my gosh, it is a winner. Bam. You know what I mean? If I'm doing a chicken dish,
Yeah.
I like to, again, like I said before, I like to pre-season my meat because it makes my life easier. And then a quick chicken stir fry,
Hmm.
with summer was just here, so we had so much corn. I love mushrooms. I like
Hmm.
to chop all those things up, onion, some peppers, put that in, thinly sliced chicken,
Uh-huh.
mix that up with some seasoning, baby. Hey, on some quinoa and some rice, on some beans, it's a winner.
Yeah.
And it's quick and it's doable. So I always say start off with things that are manageable and doable, and then as you get more interested in it or enjoy it more, then take some more risks. But you don't have to take all the risks at first. Try something that's doable for you and then have fun doing it, and then you'll be able to do so much more as you go along.
Yeah, that is
That your
such great
question?
advice.
Did that answer your question?
It did. Thank you.
Okay, good.
So, is there anything else that you want to share with us, Mr. Tony Jones?
Yes.
What's that?
Get our government open again. No. No. um, there is something that I want to share. I love Healthy Roots, Happy Life. I love that name, and it's something that I put in my bio that I sent to you, because I really do believe that that's kind of my mantra these days, which I haven't told you, but it is. Um, if you put a foundation and knowing what's going into your body, it makes your body feel better, it makes you feel better, and you have a lot more energy
Yeah,
to live your
definitely.
life and to live your best life, which I think we all want to do.
Yep.
So if we have that power in our own hands, then by all means, grab hold of it.
Yes.
Holla!
Thank you. That is what I'm trying to say too.
Right? Hello.
It's so true because food is what makes us feel great. And when we feel good, we make good decisions for our
That's,
health, for ourselves, our families, our communities. And it just perpetuates these good feelings. And it really starts with what you're eating.
yes, it does. Yes, it does. When you feel good, you look good, and
That's
you
right.
do good.
That's right.
Okay.
Well, Tony, thank you so much
Not a problem.
for sharing all of your cooking wisdom with us. And if people want to learn more about you or maybe hire you, maybe they live in Massachusetts, how can they get in touch with you?
TonyJonesCatering.com is coming your way within a month. So I'm going to have an actual launch date for you soon. But also on Facebook, you can find me at Tony Jones Catering. And you can always email at TonyJonesCatering@gmail.com.
Fantastic. Well, thank you everybody for watching. And we will see you soon. And yeah, thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you. You
Bye.
are?
I am.
I'm nervous. I'm way more nervous than you realize.
Aw,
Act-
Tony.
I'm an
But you're an
actor.
actor.
I know, which is what's saving me right now because I feel like I want to wet my pants. All right. You can put that in outtakes.